Hey guys, it's Monday morning. It's around almost 8 o'clock. I'm on my way to my second week of, I want to call it EMT training, but it's not quite EMT. That's where I want to be, able to treat people out in an isolated condition. You know, lots of the accessible programs, trainings are basically, it's like, okay, well, if you see somebody, call an ambulance. And it's like, I don't really want to be an ambulance driver, but I do want to be, and I don't want to be a hospital worker, but I do want to be able to do the things that they do. Among other things, right? I don't want to be a framer, but I want to be able to frame. I don't want to be an electrician, but I do want to be able to run You know what? I take that back. I do want to be an electrician, because that's a skill that you have, like a certification that you don't have to use, but you can. I don't want to work in a kitchen, but I do want to be able to make food, so I guess I'm going to work in a kitchen. To be a chef, like to properly, I want to be a gardener. Like 24 hours in a day, I want to be a father. You know, like I am a father, and I am a cook, and I am an electrician. But where are my certifications? You know, I feel like I'm above average in my capacity to take care of people in terms of medically. But we are also coming up against a profoundly sick society. And more of the same is not actually going to work. So getting inside the belly of the beast to understand what it is and how it works and what its methodology and maybe even its end goals, it might help to understand. They talk about hand and glove. BlackRock and Vanguard owning the media and the investment banks and the food supply and the hospitals. Like it's all kind of like part and parcel. I'm really thinking about getting off government assistance. It's been really nice, and I genuinely believe in what do you want to call it? Like guaranteed basic income. But the phrase is, that includes the word basic, and there's nothing basic about my life. So it's been really nice to have like this, like, I want to say modicum, measly, what's the word? Morsel of revenue, income, because the system works on this like income-based system where you have to pay for things, and I can kind of understand. I saw the other side of it too, where it's like, if I had my black card, my Amex black card, I wouldn't need anything else. I would just have like the shirt on my back and my Amex card, and then everything that I owned would be like properly stored, secured, safe, properly maintained, cared for by the vested interest. Because if you're going to be a cook and a sailor and a horse, a rancher, and like if you're going to do all the things, like you don't really have the space or the time to manage it all. So it's like, I don't need a tractor every day. I need a tractor to till the field, to sow the field, and to reap the field. That's it. I just need it for like 5 days. So I don't really want to own a tractor. Well, it's nice to just get out there and fucking rip it whenever you want. But it's nice to have your shit like tucked away, right? Where no moths can eat it, and no mold can grow on it. So it's like, okay, well, I don't need a truck this week. I don't have to own one. And then, oh, okay, I need a truck this weekend. Let me just like go pick it up from the people who've been taking care of my brand new truck for me. All I need is my Amex card, right? So I can kind of see, and it's like a passport. It's like a key. It's like a lock. I think it's really cool, right? Like I don't have to grow my own coconut oil or my own whatever, kimchi or whatever. I can just like go grab it when I want it. I mean, it's handy. Anyway, but I don't think that humans, because like owls and mice, I mean, it's not true. Mice and owls work hard for their meals. Ants work hard for their meals. Everyone does. Fish probably care about their meals, and predators. Like, it's kind of a thing, part of nature. So us humans are doing it a little different. The predation is coming from within our species. But it's nice to have your basic needs met. In the hierarchy of needs, you know, food and shelter, and there's a quality difference too, right? Like a tomato isn't a tomato and a carrot isn't a carrot. Like there's baby carrots in a bag from the store, and then there's like the carrot that you grew in your own garden with tons of amendments in the soil. Right? There's a big difference. Like it tastes different, you feel different. So what was I just talking about? Quality difference. Anyway, that's my rant for the morning. What we need is, oh, right. So if you're like, oh, I got housing. Okay, great, I got housing. But is it comfortable? Is it safe? Is it clean? Is it, like, do you have pest issues? Is it tidy? Is the air good to breathe? Is it quiet and peaceful, or are you stressed out and worried about what the neighbors think, and what the landlord thinks, and what your roommate thinks? Because that's not a home. If you're in a place where 5 or 6 different interests conflict with yours, and they have more authority over it than you, that's not your home. That's your prison cell. Let's be honest. And food's the same way, right? Like you can put calories in. That doesn't mean that you're actually getting fed. Like there's a lot of people who go on like weeks and months and years without food. Like they're just maybe a little bit of like herbs or sometimes some berries. But, and obviously water. But same thing, like what's water, right? Like water is a tasteless, odorless, and water tastes. Tasteless, odorless liquid. Okay, well, yeah, but like what's in it, right? Like how much calcium's in it, how much boron's in it, how many E. coli's are allowed within an acceptable tolerance. You know, stuff like that. So when you get your basic needs met, food, water, shelter, sex, I don't know, Maslow said it, I didn't say it. Intimacy, physical, carnal intimacy, the exchange of bodily fluids, is a basic need, like food and water. Okay, so now we're on these dating apps, which is like Netflix for humans, and you're just like scrolling through, you're like, yeah, I don't know, I've seen something like it, yeah, I don't know, it sounds poorly directed, you know, like you're just flipping through all these channels. Whereas, you know, back in the day when it was like 2 cars in the garage and only one person was working, and the house was owned outright, you know, there was 2 or 3 channels on TV, and you were happy with it, and you were grateful for it, and you're like, yo, this is awesome. So now you've got like millions of channels and billions of shows, and you have to be incredibly selective. And then at the end of the day, you realize it's all trash. It's all fucking garbage. And I got better shit to do with my time. But that being said, you know, once you get your basic needs met, and if you say all my food's trash, I'm not going to go for it, that's a choice too. you know, all these houses are trash, I'm not going to go for it. I've made that choice. I chose. Like, maybe in the time I thought maybe it was a bit of a lack of options or whatever, but I definitely fucking chose to be homeless. I wasn't homeless, I was rent-free, I was home-free. No, I slept on rafts and under bridges and in trucks and in hammocks and under cedar trees, and, you know, it was nice. But now I have this, like, big, soft, king-size bed without any springs in it. It's, like, firm and pillowy at the same time. It's just so fucking good. And these upgrades in my life, they just keep coming and coming, and the more I appreciate them and I'm grateful for them and recognize them, the more there are. It's funny, right? Because it's like, you practice finding problems, you're gonna find some problems, and when you practice finding blessings, man, dude, they just keep coming, right? They just keep fucking coming. So, yeah, so once you get your basic needs met, then you can work on interpersonal relationships, then you can work on, I don't know, what's the thing? There's a self-actualization. What is that? Is that like realizing that you are God, acting as a small part in its own imagination? How many of our thoughts are actually ours? How many of our decisions are ours? Like, there's a hot stove, you would, is it instinctively? No, it's conditionally choose not to touch it. But if you touch the hot stove, you would neurogenically pull your hand away from it. It's not a choice. You don't get the choice. You could try to hold your hand on the stove. I don't know if I've tried that. I definitely do my best to hold my hand over a candle as often as I can, stare at the sun, or maybe even an ice bath. Like, just see if you can endure pain and find the pleasure in it. I'll leave it there.